There has been an increase of migrants at the U.S. Mexico border, which once again is rarely treated as the humanitarian crisis it is, and more often used as a political tool against your enemies. In this case, by Republicans against President Joe Biden in what they're calling the Biden border crisis. Someone went to Kinko's or the FedEx store. You know what I'm saying? House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who led a delegation of 12 GOP members on the tour of the border in El Paso, Texas, blamed the influx in border crossings on Biden, on the administration's immigration policies and decision to stop the construction of the former President Trump's border wall, claiming that an influx of COVID-19 infected immigrants will set the country back in its fight against the pandemic. Okay, so Republicans believe there's a pandemic. That's a step in the right direction. We're making progress. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It becomes very xenophobic. Obviously, if it weren't obvious enough that Kevin McCarthy is trying to audition for Trump's final rose, here he is at the border talking about how, as he claims, people who are on the terrorist watch list are coming across the border.
It's not just people from Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador. They're now finding people from Yemen, Iran, Turkey. People on the terrorist watch list they are catching, and they're rushing it all at once.
Okay, before we launch into this, just a response from a representative in Arizona who tweeted back at Kevin McCarthy saying, "Weird as the chairman of the subcommittee on intelligence and special operations and a border state member of Congress, I haven't heard anything about this. Gonna ask for a briefing. Pretty sure he's either wrong or lying." Yeah.
Hold on, Cenk, you came in through the southern border? Who let you through, brother? These Turkish terrorists, they just letting them walk right on in. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is where it's going.
Yeah, well, look, Woz, it's a good point. Back in 1978, when my family immigrated here, we thought, we could take a plane. Nah, let's swim over to Mexico from Turkey and then cross the desert and walk in that way. What Turkish terrorists got caught at the border? Name one, Kevin McCarthy. I'm not saying it's not possible, like there could be a Turkish terrorist, right? But I would have thought that we do a news show, that would have been interesting news. Like, whoa, Turkish terrorists caught at the border, right? Because that's unique, that's different, right? Or a Norwegian terrorist, or any terrorist. Name one, Kevin. You can't name one because you're a liar, okay? So, now, I just want to note the irony of the terrorist watch list. People that are on the terrorist watch list can buy almost any weapon they want in America. They're on terrorist watch list. You know why? Republicans, because they take donations from the NRA, say, no, we don't want to. The terrorist watch list folks, they can't fly, they got to go through Mexico, right? But once they get here, they can buy any weapon they like. You're thinking, Cenk, you come on, that you got to be exaggerating. That can't be true. 100% true. Republicans have fought tooth and nail for the rights of terrorists to have weapons. So they're only, Joe, well, maybe not everybody on the list is the right person, blah, 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 blah. Okay, why isn't this the easiest thing in the world to defeat? Because Democrats suck. Why don't you run ads saying Republicans are pro-terrorist, they want to give them weapons? That's actually true. It's actually true, right? And instead, McCarthy comes in, there's a Turkish, Kazaki, Bulgarian terrorists coming in, and we got to watch out for that. And now all of a sudden I'm concerned about COVID. So I took my mask off before doing this. Okay, so dude, you guys just did an anti-mask measure in Texas like 3.5 minutes ago. Don't come tell me you're concerned about COVID. No, the number one point here, guys, as you all know, is the most xenophobic line of attack all across the world, not just in America. And the Germans did it the most. Immigrants are dirty. And that's exactly what they said about the Jews before they killed them all.
Yeah, I think it's kind of easy to see why they do this. Immigration as far as their rhetoric, the GOP is the most popular thing that they probably do. That and maybe the Second Amendment, as Cenk so beautifully illustrated there. But it's that, and two, they know they can run free on their immigration rhetoric because the Dems don't have a coherent response. Like, what is the Democratic Party's plan for the border? Do you know what it is? I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how the Dems feel about immigration. So it's not to say that these policies that Kevin McCarthy would espouse aren't disgusting and xenophobic and unnecessarily nationalistic. Is that he knows he's not going to get any pushback from the Democratic Party besides, oh, you should be nice to immigrants. All right, what's your policy answer? They never come up with one. And that gives these guys the daylight to run free, run wild, and let their freak flag fly. It's quite disappointing and disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into that a little bit more, but I did want to say that, blaming what's going on Biden is insane. It is absolutely ludicrous, not even 2 months, into this administration to suddenly say that Biden's got a border crisis on his hands, right? It's been a crisis. This has been around for a very long time. And the other thing I'll say is Biden's deporting immigrants right now. He's continuing deporting immigrants. Guess what? Underneath a statute that says when there's a pandemic or if there's a health emergency, you can keep deporting and basically like thwart and undermine any kind of due process. Just keep the deportations rolling. Anna and I covered a story about the number of Haitian immigrants who are being sent back to that essential war zone right now, and not being tested, not being quarantined. Who cares if they've got COVID, right? Who cares if Haiti would get more COVID? So you're totally right, Woz, that the Democrats don't have a clear line because they're not actually making good on some of their promises that they inherited for sure, but that they could definitely do a better job in stopping. And to that end, Representative Ilhan Omar and 23 of her Democratic colleagues sent a letter to Domestic Policy Council Director Susan Rice and Department of Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas, urging them to secure another executive order to phase out contracts between ICE, state, county, and local jails and prisons. Because we know children right now are being held for 3 days. And then they're supposed to be let go, unaccompanied minors. Turns out they're being held longer. Some of that is for safety and for the pandemic reasons. Some of that is because there's a mess. There is a mess, but it's just so dishonest for Republicans to blame Biden on this. And yet Ilhan Omar and progressives are right to call for more.
Yeah, so we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? So you guys are right about all the Democratic hypocrisy. Anna and I covered the story about how Biden reopened the awful Homestead Detention Center that Kamala Harris had said, oh my God, if we ever get in charge, we're gonna shut this thing down right away. Not only did you not shut it down, you reopened it. And what Woz and Francesca was referring to is because of COVID, they're using it as an excuse to do blanket deportations. No due process at all. Now, Trump was also doing that and people were like irate over it. Biden does it, everybody's like, oh, that's cool, no big deal, right? So that's the Democrats, hypocritical as usual. Republicans, total lies and even more monstrous as usual. I mean, we're like, what do we have to vote for, right? Mm-hmm. So we vote for the Democrats, they give us the same policy as the Republicans. If you vote for the Republicans, they're like, oh my God, we're gonna shut it all down because we're worried about terrorists from Kazakhstan. So damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I mean, also just it's so funny to, in the year 2021, seriously talk about a terrorism watch list when your party puts terrorists up at their national conventions, all right? When your party like rolls out anyone who ever tried to open fire on a BLM demonstration, that terrorist, that's our guy. So come on with that war on terror BS language. I don't believe it's dead, it's done. You guys have cultivated your own terrorists within your own party. You're the party of insurrectionist terrorists.
Francesca, I had not thought of it. That's such a great point. Turns out Kevin McCarthy was right. Those Turkish terrorists went all the way up to the Capitol on January 6th at this riot. So
also, I'm old enough to remember when ISIS was gonna come behead me and eat my children and take away my pork. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when that was the immediate threat that threatened everybody in America. I haven't heard ISIS in years. This organization that was supposed to be the boogeyman was supposed to come and kill us all because Barry was in cahoots with his fellow Muslims. I don't even remember the party line on ISIS. So that's how I know this is just desperate rhetoric on their parts.
You know what? It's so funny. I don't know why they're weirdly obsessed with Turks. Louis Gohmert did a speech where he said Obama, this is literal. Obama was going to reconstitute the Ottoman Empire. Okay. Look, the only
Erdogan's like, when do we start?
He's like, oh my God, really? He's like, how do I get in on that party? Look, the only threat that would be real, the Turks are gonna come and eat all your bacon. That would be actually a credible threat.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.